And it's so wonderful to see so many people from so many different countries and continents and places and backgrounds. And um, it's just a beautiful gathering as people are coming in. People are still coming in. It's amazing to see. And we are so grateful and excited to be um, talking to, interviewing, learning from, hearing from Narad, who just has his life is such a testament to what it means to be devoted to the Mother and to Sri Aurobindo. Um, I'm gonna give an introduction, even though, as Jana said, for most of us here, Narad probably doesn't need too much of an introduction. Um, but just as background, the bio on on the website mothersriaurobindo.in describes him as a longtime member of the Sri Aurobindo ashram in Auroville, a landscaper, plumerian, gardener, musician, and poet who was born on 29th July, which was just a week and a half ago. So happy birthday, Narad. 29th July 1938 in New Jersey, USA. Before traveling to India for the first time, Narad studied opera, and he was connected to Mother and Sri Aurobindo through Jyoti Priya, who was the founder of the East West Cultural Center. And he traveled to India for the first time by way of Japan and Hong Kong on a ship in 1961. The mother's first adesh to Narad was to bring down the new music, and her early relationship with him focused on music. And later, after spending some time back in the US working in landscape design and studying horticulture, she asked him to design and build the Matrimandir Gardens. And he developed the Matrimandir Nursery, which provided plants not only for the gardeners, but also for the Greenbelt pioneers, not only for the Matrimandir Gardens, but for the Greenbelt pioneers who were looking for indigenous species to reintroduce. And many of the beautiful trees, indigenous trees throughout Auroville, were first grown in the Matrimandir nursery. It was decades later that he had the experience that the new music was to descend in a collective body and began the OM choirs at the ashram and Auroville and around the world. In addition to all of this, which would be enough, Narad has published 53 books, over 4,000 poems, taken thousands of photos, and compiled an extensive online repository of information spanning the depth and breadth of Mother and Sri Aurobindo's lives and work, and also the lives and contributions of hundreds of disciples and devotees. His contributions to the flowering of Mother and Sri Aurobindo's teachings and action in the world are really incalculable. And on a personal level, I have met and seen many people who can quote Mother and Sri Aurobindo and expound on the nuances of integral yoga philosophy, and many people who have been instrumental in moving forward the ashram and moving forward Auroville. The thing that distinguishes Nada to me is his heart, the wideness of his contributions, of course, but to witness Nada as I have in the Om choirs. Uh, I've seen a sincere care and love for each individual person, regardless of, whether somebody knows how to sing or doesn't know how to sing, with self-doubt, anxiety, pride, whatever anybody comes into the space with. Narad wraps each person in a blanket of love and care and gently, firmly, lovingly draws out their own unique voice. It's like a gardener. It's like witnessing a gardener growing voices, nourishing the seeds that lie within each person, within each of us, and helping them grow. And I haven't seen Narad in the gardens and interacting with plants, but I have this uh, like imagining that when he's working with plants and when he's working with people, it's the same love and care and the same nurturance that's coming through. So we're very happy to have you with us, Narad. And I'd like to start just there. I made this assumption that there's a connection between gardening and singing, between working with plants and working with people's voices. And I wonder if you might be able to speak to that and share what it's like for you, whether there's a connection for you between these two things.
I will quote something from the mother, where she says that consciousness has created the universe, but love is its savior. And for me, it is love, gratitude, and humility that have led me in the integral yoga. So the connection is definitely love. Mother says the first thing to work with in plants is to love them. And that is the experience I had more than 10 years ago when the Lord spoke to me. And he said 4 words: love all, no exceptions. And that's my life.
It certainly comes through. You say these things that love and humility and gratitude are what drive you, and I see it radiating from you, and it's been such a inspiration to me to be in your presence and to see that how fully established it is. And also, I think at this time in the world where there's so much arguing about philosophy and who's right and who's wrong, that your presence of love is refreshing. So thank you for coming and sharing it with us today. Um, I'd love it if you would share a bit about how the mother held the Matrimandir Gardens. What did she say to you about the gardens and their function and purpose? Why do these gardens exist?
Let me go back to my childhood, because I worked with my father when I was a young teenager, and we designed Japanese gardens. We also maintained gardens. And Mother, of course, knew all of this. In fact, when I was 23, I met Mother for the first time because of Jyoti Priya. She had written to Mother, and in those days you had to send a sample of your handwriting as well as a photograph. And immediately Mother wrote back, "Tell him he may come and stay as long as he likes." Imagine what that is for a young person. So Mother knew my past lives, my present life, and the possibilities in this life. In addition, she wanted me to build a choir in the ashram, which I did. And it is the only choir that ever sang to Mother on Christmas Eve. We stood, well, I asked Mother, I suggested that we stand under her balcony, the old balcony. And Mother said, "I would prefer if you would stand by the samadhi." Imagine that. So I stood facing the samadhi, and the choir stood facing the Mother. She had come down and opened that small window and was looking down at us. What did I know? I didn't realize this was a darshan. and the place was filled. It was just a little space for us. And we began to sing the first piece, and it was a cacophony. It was the worst sound you've ever heard, because the wind was blowing and the singers couldn't hear each other. I turned around and I looked up at Mother and I said, "But Mother, we're singing for you." The rest of the concert, not one mistake. So Mother was teaching me about music. And let me go there first, and then I'll talk to you about the Matrimandir Gardens. The moment I arrived in the ashram, Mother asked to see me. And the first meeting with her was something that changed my life in one moment. I knew I had met the divine, the creatrix. And she talked to me about music. She asked me, "Is the music with you now?" And I said, "Oh, Mother, it's always with me." And she said, "Not always." And she took it away for a while to work on other aspects. She told me about composers and how they had risen to the heights that she calls I believe she called it the sphere of harmony, and how they could reach that harmony and bring it down to the earth. Well, she also then became very, very quiet and said to me, "You must bring down a new music." Now I'm 23 years old, a bit raw, a bit arrogant, and I was singing in 7 different languages. And I understood that composers take the poetry of great poets and set it to music. Schubert did it for 600 songs, and thousands of others have written. So I said, "Mother, I don't know anything about combining words and music." Mother said, "No, no, you must go far above words and bring down the pure music." And so almost 25 years ago, I guess, I began the OM Choir, because I had another, we can call it a dish or command or word from the divine, that the Om would descend in a collective body. And that is the OM Choir. Now, Mother did many other things to me that day. She asked me at one point, "Would you like to talk or would you like to meditate?" And I said, "Meditate, Mother," knowing nothing at all about meditation. And Mother took me outside of myself. I saw the fire beginning in my lower body and rising up, consuming my entire self, going above my head, gigantic flames. And when it was all over, all I could do was prostrate myself at her feet. So that was 1961, 62. And then I began working for her in America. And that's too long a story, but it had to do with handmade paper, watercolor paper, and also music, because I sent Mother a letter, and knowing that she had been in India all those years, I wrote and asked her what composers did she hear before she left. And then I was with a musicologist working in a music store, and I wrote to Mother she underlined the letter and said, I have not heard any of these, and I would be happy to hear them. And you know, Mother listened to 50 records, one each day. Everything, everything that she had not heard. She said, I think I heard most of Ravel and Debussy, but from that point on, she said, I haven't heard none. I mean, Mahler and so many other. I even sent her the Doors. She said something, I think it was someone else who also sent her rock and roll, but Mother said they are standing on they are standing on can't remember it, on an entryway, but they don't yet know how to cross. Well, in 1967, my wife, Annie, and I were on a what?
Hi.
What? Excuse me. My wife and I were on Taconic State Parkway, and it was a blizzard. The road was a sheet of ice. Two old ladies had parked their car perpendicular to traffic, and we ran into them. And Annie had very severe injuries. But Mother said there would be no scars. Amazing. And people saw Mother standing at the bed, blessing Annie. So we recovered $3,000, and I wanted immediately to send it to Mother. And Mother writes, why don't you use the money to come for the inauguration of Auroville? Oh. Each ticket was $1,500 exactly. So we came, and on December 18th, we met Mother on Annie's birthday. And Mother looked at Annie and she said, this is not the first time we have met. You have been with me many times before, many, many times. And then she turned to me and she said, you wouldn't like to come to Auroville in a few years? I feel you can do something there. So we went back, and only a few months later, Mother's secretary wrote to me, and he said, Mother would like you to come and prepare to build the gardens of the Matrimandir. So immediately I wrote back, does Mother want me to work physically with the landscape company or go to college? Mother wrote back, both would be best. So I worked during the day and went to college at night. And then Mother called me. It's a long story and I'll keep it short. She wrote, Abiento. 3 months later, see you soon. So I came, and then I met Mother. And Mother said, they have told you about the gardens? And she said, I have chosen all the flowers. And then she said, it must be a thing of great beauty, of such a beauty that when men enter, they will say, ah, this is it. And they will know physically and concretely the significance of each garden. In the garden of youth, they will know youth. In the garden of bliss, they will know bliss. So, Matthew, that's a long introduction.
But
But
you
you see,
came,
Mother knew everything. She knew everything about me. She knew all about landscaping, design, everything. She knew all about music and what I did in my youth. Everything is Mother. Hold her closely. Never forget her name. There is such power in her name. And in OM, which is said to have been the creator of the universe. Yes, Matt.
yeah, the way you wove all of that together to fill out the biography and also demonstrate the influence of Mother on your life and what she knew, and came straight to the question that I had asked, but with all of the background that was required in order to actually answer the question, was very beautiful. Because you couldn't answer the question without all of the context that what you shared provided. So thank you for that. Um, I think that what we can do is, Jana, are we ready to show the film? So as Narad was describing, you know, this is, I think most of the people who are here know when we say Matrimandir and the Matrimandir Gardens and the Matrimandir Nursery, what we're talking about. But this is the soul of Auroville. And Narad, is there anything else that you'd like to say about Matrimandir or the gardens before we show this short film?
Yes, I will say one thing. We were often criticized, we working in the Matrimandir Nursery, for not actually mixing concrete and building the pillars. And I wrote to Mother, and Mother said, the gardens are as important as the Matrimandir. We must keep that in mind.
Thank you. So Jana, when you're ready, we can roll that film, and then we'll come back again afterwards and have some more conversation.
No earthly force or otherworldly stress can stay our journey to the golden halls, where all the tides of violence and hate are swept away, no longer ours to keep, There is a peace containing every sound, and a sound that holds all music in its peace. I worship Auroville, the sacred ground. In this playground of the Lord is our release. You must go far above words and bring down the pure music. Instruments who are capable of receiving the supramental vibration and bringing it down within themselves to earth. And this is, of course, the reason for the OM Choir, that we can meet in love and harmony and unity, and not show off our voices, but be instruments to receive from the divine presence the new music. Awaiting the purity to describe her dream, the divinity of earth, I sing of the flowers, plant seeds, prepare the soil for new birth. Each garden I enter, I find filled with significance. Music soars above the mind, a chant descending pure and free. Above and beneath me is green, and the blue of lake and sky. On November 23rd, 1961, I arrived in Chennai with a pair of pants, one shirt, and broken chappals. Mother has given me the work to build the gardens of the Matrimandir. It must be a thing of great beauty, of such a beauty that when men enter they will say, "Ah, this is it." And they will experience physically and concretely the significance of each garden. In the garden of youth, they will know youth. In the garden of bliss, they will know bliss. One must know how to move from consciousness to consciousness. Meet in each facet of green and gold, against the temple rising high. Life vibrant, the bees hum pure, a rainbow of beauty abounds. Richness and joy follow pathways sure, and sweetness the Matrimandir surrounds. In the warm and tender beauty of their eyes, no darkling passion glows, nor fell disguise, for all with crystal clarity implies a love descended from those blissful skies, where suffering is done, transformed by grace, and pain outcast, a stranger in that place, where soul by soul, in kingly harmony pace, the silent footsteps of a diviner race. Auroville must be the paradigm of a new creation to be replicated in all the countries of the world. But because Auroville is representative of all the problems of the world, in one place, we have to go through so much. We have to resolve everything in the world for us to be truly a model. There are people who are very, very certain that Auroville is in danger of being destroyed. It is impossible. It's the creation of the Divine Mother. We may have to go if we don't change. And that peace and that love and that vibrant will for perfection is what we have to aim for. And that unity of soul with soul, that oneness that you may have felt at the OM Choir, is unique. And it has a power. It has a force to go all over the world. Because OM, Mother says, is the voice of the Lord. And that voice of the Lord can penetrate steel, concrete, doesn't matter. Anyone who is open will receive it. If you go there with an open consciousness and a prayer, and if you are patient, there will always be an answer. There is at least 50% of the work on the gardens remaining to be completed. I ask for your help to realize this great vision of Mother, whom she named after Sri Aurobindo, Auroville, which also means the city of the dawn.
Such a beautiful testament to uh, Narad's relationship with the Matrimandir and with the OM Choir and the fruits of his contributions to Auroville. And I just want to reiterate that the work on the gardens is continuing, and Auroville International USA accepts and transfers donations to Matrimandir for work on the gardens. And Jana will put the link in the chat to the page where if you would like to make a contribution, you are welcome to do so. And I also think that Piotr Redlinski has joined us, and Piotr is the maker of the film. Um, and I'm gonna see, Jan, are we able to bring him in? Or we can just wait. As soon as you're able to find Piotr, locate him and bring him in, we'll talk to him as well. And I think Jana mentioned at the beginning that we would be looking at questions in the chat. It looks like the chat was actually disabled before we set up the Zoom. So what we'll do is, if you have a question that you'd like to ask Narad, not now, but in a few moments, we'll invite you to raise your hand, and then we'll just unmute you and you can ask. But just before we do any of that, Narad, um, one of the things that the video provides such a full-bodied experience of Matrimandir and the feeling and the energy. Your poetry really resonates with the vibration of Matrimandir, and the images and the audio and what you were sharing, what you were saying really are so evocative. And for anyone who has the opportunity to go and actually be there in that space, I wonder if you could share, what is it? What do you recommend? How should people arrive? What should they attend to? How should their consciousness be if they're able to be in the Matrimandir Gardens and around the Matrimandir? What should they, how should they prepare themselves? Not necessarily in a too much of a superficial way, but um, what would your recommendations to be to anyone who can go?
Go there with an aspiration to feel the presence. If you can feel the presence emanating from the Matrimandir itself, if you have the blessing to go to the chamber, please, please go to the chamber. It will change your life. Speak with the flowers. Communicate with them. They have their own language, which is not ours. But when I wrote to Mother, she wrote back to me that concerning the supramental, the flowers will be amongst the first to change because their life is an aspiration for light. Go there with that aspiration for peace, for light, for a deeper connection with the vibration of the Matrimandir, which has the power to change everything. And the gardens one day will also. They are in progress, and there is much still to go until we can reach what Mother had told me. But we will reach it. I believe the key in this yoga, one of the keys, of course, is surrender. Surrender to the highest that you can envisage. Call it the divine, the Lord, Mother, Sri Aurobindo, whatever. Surrender. And then, of course, patience. It's a long, long process. I'm now starting into my 88th year and no longer have the energy to work in the gardens. But I can go and receive their blessings.
I love what you said about the plants having this aspiration. When I walk in the gardens, all belief, all concept, all ideological ideas about spirituality or about Mother or about Sri Aurobindo kind of fade away. What is integral yoga? It's like the presence is the thing. And I also feel the presence in the flowers. It's like they're calling out, you know, they have this unique way of with their colors and their shapes of transmitting that presence in this kind of their own unique way. So I appreciate that deeply. Um, and I think Jana, is Piotr, can we bring him in? I saw his name pop up.
Hello.
There he is. All
Hello,
right.
everyone. Hello, Narad.
I don't see you yet. There.
So, as I mentioned, Piotr's the one who put this film together. He did all the interviews, all the shooting, all the compilation, all the audio, all the video, the vision, everything. And if there's something you can say, Piotr, just about, how it came together, what it was like to do to work on the process, both being there in Auroville with Narad and then afterwards kind of reviewing everything and stitching it together, please.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for taking the time to look at this. Hello, Narad. Hello, Matthew, and everyone. Um, yes, most grateful to Matrimandir for letting me in and trusting me to attempt to paint a portrait of not only Narad's lifetime of effort and dedication and devotion to Auroville and the mother, but also the lineage of this devotion and philosophy, the integral yoga, and all the good people that are uh, have come together to unite throughout the decades, but also now during such difficult time globally. Um, I have heard about Auroville over 20 years ago when I was living in Mumbai teaching at a school of architecture, from my students who said, "Oh my God, you haven't been there, you haven't heard of it. It's such a unique petri dish for humanity trying to evolve past its limitations." And I didn't have time to go then, but thanks to Matthew and his invitation 3 years ago, I came to Auroville finally to facilitate Krishna Das's concert at the amphitheater, which was an amazing event. And I stayed afterwards to learn more about Narad's work and just take in the amazing spatiality and architecture of Matrimandir and its gardens. In fact, all of Auroville, because it starts with the mother tree and expands through Matrimandir, but it's like a radiating meditation, samadhi, and sangha for so much of the world. Um, and being trained as an architect, I had a additional layer of appreciation for the sculptural nature of the gardens and, of course, the Matra Mandir itself, uh, about which I've heard so much, and um, and then learning so much about naming of the flowers that Mother has so beautifully intuited, and lifetime of work by Narad trying to not only shine a light on that, but through his own poetry, so beautifully radiate further through his own lens the sanctuary that this is, has really opened up my eyes and turned my lens onto the work that was being done there, and from the ground and from the air. Of course, through drone work, you have a different appreciation of a bird's eye perspective on all the beauty. Um, so thank you again, Matthew and Narad, for being so welcoming and letting me carry the torch in the ways that I can.
Thank you, sir. I'm so grateful for your work.
Yeah, as are we. As Piotr said, he came to Auroville with a particular idea in mind, and this was an outgrowth, a kind of organic outgrowth that came from his meeting Narad and his inspiration, being inspired by Narad and Narad's work, and the kind of rapport that just organically happened between the two of them. And you have, a moment like that, and then, we all just got to witness the product of that magical moment and that magical rapport. So thanks for being here, Piotr, and also for the work that you did. It's a beautiful film.
You're welcome.
And we want to see you back in Auroville.
I'd love to come back. Thank you
Soon
for
as possible.
continuing invitation. And your oming, something I'd like to add just a little bit. The musicality of the gardens is so beautifully coupled with what you have done for so many years with the OM Choir, and its silence. You can somehow hear the music and you express so beautifully in your poetry. So it just felt such a natural pairing of the two, and such a powerfully symbolic one to what Matrimandir carries in its mission.
So I think we can open it up. If anybody has a question that you'd like to ask Narad um, or Piotr, you can raise your hand and we will bring you into the conversation and unmute you. And we've got one here. Go ahead. This is Manju, huh?
Hello, I'm Manjure.
Hi, Manju.
Basically, I'm from Calcutta, and I used to visit that Bhavan, Sri Aurobindo Bhavan. Many years back, I visited Pondicherry, but Auroville was under construction that time, so I couldn't visit. Anyway, wonderful session, wonderful. The contribution, it was not known to me. And we were so fortunate to meet that a pioneer person who brought that mother's dream into reality. Anyway, I have a question that now I live in UK. Okay, I worked and retired here. I'm health professional, health education. Okay, so my question is, Auroville and Pondicherry administration, is there any link or they are completely separated?
By Pondicherry administration, do you mean the government of Pondicherry?
Yes, not government. I am asking about Auroville administration. Is it government, run by government, managed by government? Auroville, I never visited, I don't know. Auroville establishment or administration, is it under control of India government, or it is independent an organization?
I will answer that.
Please.
The only place that would give Auroville an opportunity to grow and prosper is India. And we must respect that great contribution of India. Politics is not something Mother wanted in India. She didn't set any rules for India, except one, and that was necessary: no drugs. she said she wanted it more like a, if I can remember the words, it'll come back to me. Any other questions?
Yeah, I see Cristiano. Yeah, Christian. You can go ahead. I see your physical hand raised. There's also, just for so everybody knows, if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little icon that says raise hand. So if you'd like to be in the queue, I can't see everybody. I just happen to be able to see Cristiano. So you can go ahead and ask your question. But for everybody else, just click that little icon if you'd like to raise your hand.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste, Narad. Thank you, Matthew. I was in Auroville, visited many times, first time 85 something, and then I stayed in Auroville from 2015 and to 2017 and did the newcomer process and worked also as in the gardens for a while in January something. And so I have two questions about it. One is, are the gardens that have already been created, are they considered to be final? Is this the final version, or is it something that is created over time? Maybe is an experiment to try to find out the right expression, or is it frozen? Now that they have been created, they will stay as they are, or can they be changed? And the second question is that I think many people that go into the gardens and work there and feel the heat is, and I don't know, Narad is not responsible for that, I think, but why is there such a huge area that is totally exposed to the sun and so much grass in southern East India? And it was very, even in January, February, it was so hot to work there. And I talked to the local people, the Tamil, who worked the whole year, and they said it's impossible to work during the hot season. So I don't understand why so many trees have been cut and why so much area has been exposed. So these are the two questions. Yeah.
You have asked very, very important questions, extremely important questions. And I am never one to criticize anyone. My work on earth is to love all beings. But the first question I can answer very easily. The gardens will evolve just as we will evolve. They are not fixed permanently. We all have to grow. We have to grow first within and begin to understand what Mother and Sri Aurobindo are asking of us. And we have to consider nothing final. Nothing final. In ourselves as well as in the world. The supramental force I know is at work. And I have seen it in the flowers. But I won't go deeply into that and take your second question, which is extremely important. And here I'm entering into I could say for many a very painful question you've asked. Because in a real garden, there have to be wind breaks. There has to be shade for people. But this is not allowed by a certain group. And I won't say more, because I'm not here to call anyone down on anything But your question is so important. How do the plants even make it? I brought hundreds of orchids at the entrance of the Matrimandir so that people would begin to feel the vibration of attachment to the divine, the name of the orchid. Now, when I wrote Mother a long 2-page letter about everything being organically grown, Mother said to Shamsunda, "Stop. I know everything he's going to say." And she said, "Tell him that he may use chemicals for the flowers." And this would mean the orchids would be receiving what they need. 1 teaspoon every 2 weeks. And it was banned. No matter what Mother said, no chemicals. So there is so much more that I could say, but I won't. I'll keep quiet. But keep in mind those 2 questions that are so important, Christiana. They must change, as we must.
It looks like we have a question from Aryadeep. Aryadeep, you want to go ahead? Aryadeep, are you there? Okay, then the next person would be Shashi.
My question is this video available in public to share?
So far we haven't posted it, but we will be posting it on our YouTube channel, so it will be possible to share. And we'll also be posting this Zoom for people that weren't able to attend. So this is the launch. This is the world premiere of the video. We didn't want to show it before this, but after this we will post it. And I'll make sure that you get the link, Shashi.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Aryadeep.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Narad, for your deeply insightful views. I have 2 things to ask. You have written a series of books on inspiration from Savitri.
Yes.
Can we know a little bit how you came to write about these books? What was the inspiration? What was the story behind it? Whether it is out of the result of your study or somebody told you to write or what? And second thing, in this meeting, you speak contact with the mother. But I understand, I remember that you also had some inner experiences of contact with Sri Aurobindo. If you don't mind, can you speak briefly about it, if possible?
Whoa. Oh, these are 2 very salient questions. I guess I'm now up to 54 books
Oh,
because a young lady has written a book and just sent it to me. And her name is Devika, and this is the book. Can you see this?
Yeah, in adoration
yes.
of the Divine Mother, yeah.
Yes, in adoration of the Divine Mother. And it's my poems. I write every morning, or if nothing comes, I don't write, with the same gratitude to Sri Aurobindo. I know that I am not a poet, but Sri Aurobindo made many poets. Poets who were teachers, who were from different countries, and everything I receive is from him. there is only one proviso. I take credit only for the mistakes. And sometimes 10 or 15 poems come in the morning. I usually start about 6 a.m. And the crows come and visit me and say hello, and I feed them. And then I write what I receive. I've had a very long and beautiful association with Amal Kiran, K.D. Setna, who has helped me greatly in my poetry also. And once I asked him a question, and I'll share this with you, Aryadeep. If you find that, if you feel that a line is not quite right, not quite what it should be, what should you do if Sri Aurobindo tells you not to use the mind? And he very quietly said to me, appeal. And then after a few moments, he said, if you are patient, there will always be an answer. And I'll tell you a little about my experiences with Sri Aurobindo, but it may take a little time. When you enter the ashram and walk up the steps and you turn right, just before the reading room, there is a small room. Well, actually, it was large, but it was made smaller. This was the soup room. Now, Mother used to have the disciples come, and she would take from a huge bowl of soup 1 spoon. She would taste the soup and put it in the disciples' mouth. I used to go into that room before I would go to the Samadhi. They've closed it for many years now, unfortunately. And I would feel Sri Aurobindo so strongly in that photo, sepia photo. And I would say, Lord, let me be thine. And one day, I prostrated myself before him. And he spoke to me. And he said, and it's good for the circulation too. Another day, he gave me my first poem. 4 lines only. These are the currents of my life. Engulf them in thy sea. The tangled threads of daily strife reweave to image thee. I asked my Upaguru, Aurobindo Basu, why do I go to that room first? And he said, simply because Sri Aurobindo has put his presence in that photo. Now, I first met him in his subtle physical home in 1965. And it was for me the greatest experience of my life, because he was seated on his couch and he invited me to sit next to him. He put his hand on my chest, on my abdomen, and the strands of his silver hair touched my chest. And he opened me. The next day, in the evening, I met him again. And I was a very angry man. And I saw him walking in this beautiful, beautiful alabaster columned building with two men. One was Nolini, who was alive. One was Purani, who had already passed away. And he was talking to both of them. And he came up to me and he said, "What a look." And of course, he was totally unfazed by my anger. And I said, "Tell me, did you or did you not come to me last night?" And he smiled and he said, "What kind of question is that?" And I wouldn't give up. "Tell me." And he said, "I did." And then, of course, I was filled with such remorse. Now, I wrote to Mother immediately. And Pavitra wrote back to me. And Mother said, "Your experience is valid, but do not try to make a mental construction of it." The third time I met him was 9/9/99. And he was seated in his chair in the subtle physical. And he motioned me to come to him. And he allowed me to massage his feet. I asked Aurobindo Basu, "What does it mean?" He said, "It means you have given yourself to Sri Aurobindo. But now you have to make the offering more complete." And that is my life. Facing all the problems of past fate, present fate, yet always looking to the future with joy and gratitude.
Thank you for sharing those intimate and beautiful experiences with us. These experiences, yeah, it's so hard to put things like this into words, and you've done a beautiful job of it, and I could really feel the transmission of the experience. So thank you, Narad. And thank you for the question, Aryadeep. We have one more question. Oh, never mind. Somebody had their hand up, but they just put it down. There was a follow-up from Cristiano, which just he was asking, is it possible that the state of the gardens are a reflection of the state of Auroville?
I would say more the state of our consciousness. We need to find harmony, peace, and a love that's unassailable in each other. Views can differ. We all live in the ignorance. None of us have yet risen into the spiritual planes of consciousness. We live in body, life, and mind, which is a world of duality. Until we can get out of duality, we'll not be able to achieve the harmony that is required of Aurovillians and the world.
What you just said, Narad, we live in duality, and yet what you preceded it by saying, the state of love. It's like there is something that's accessible to us, even though not everything is accessible to us, even though the transcendence of duality is perhaps not accessible to us. We can treat each other with love and embrace, as you've said, is your life's work to embrace all with love without exception. Just if we could end with your invitation, if you could summarize an invitation to all of us to Auroville. I mean, it's beyond Auroville. The world is in such a state of polarization, and the arguing about truth, who's right, who's wrong, pushing each other down, pulling ourselves up. If you could give one message to all of us about that, what would that be?
I would have to repeat Nolini. Love the mother. Love Sri Aurobindo. They are here with us now. They're so close. The subtle physical is just a little above our physical life. And they are there, not only ready to help, but already helping. The power of the name is of extreme importance. He writes of it in Savitri. If you can begin to read Savitri, it will change you. So these are my comments. Love each other. Love the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Remember and be grateful for their sacrifice in bringing down the supermental.
Thank you, Narad, for your presence, your blessing, your transmission, the sharing of your personal self and of your heart. We're so blessed to be able to have spent all this time with you. And thank you, all of you who came. As I said, the video will be posted. We'll email all of you with the information, the link to where it's posted, the link to how to contribute to the Matrimandir Gardens. I think many of you know that Auroville International USA exists as essentially a bridge between the aspirations and purpose of Auroville, the ideals of Auroville, and the broader world. We exist solely to connect you to the aspirations and ideals of Auroville. That might be financially, informationally, spiritually, whatever the connection might be. That's why we're here. And we're here to kind of bring people together and leverage and, grow support for the manifestation of those ideals and that spirit of Auroville. So any ideas or contributions that you would like to connect with us about, we are at your service. Please be in touch. And thank you all for being here, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is. It's beautiful to be in community with so many people who share a common interest and aspiration aligned with the ideals of Auroville.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you.
And I look forward, Nara, to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you all.